These are the last haunting images of Karina Vetrano, taken just minutes before she was murdered on a remote jogging trail, shown for the very first time, uncovered by Crime Watch Daily.
Does the video give you any clues as to what happened to her? Does the video give you any clue as to who may have done this to her?
Now, from NYPD's Chief of Detectives, we're breaking all new details.
She leaves her residence here about 5:40 in the evening. We have her on video going into the park about 5:46. So it's a little fluid there with the time. She enters here and she begins her run here.
In his first national television interview about the Jogger murder, Chief Detective Robert Boyce is revealing what police now know for sure about the suspect, who's been ruled out, and where they found the DNA. It's rare access into an active NYPD investigation in a case that has a city on edge.
What's it going to take to solve this case?
Hardcore detective work.
She was a petite 105 pounds of fleet-footed perfection, but the New York City Jogger could not outrun her killer.
She didn't see it coming.
It's a murder of such wicked brutality that it has rattled even the most hardened New Yorkers.
Have you ever had a case quite like the Karina Vetrano murder?
I can't recollect anything that we've had even near this.
What strikes me out of all these pictures is her incredible zest for life.
There was so much in her, and she achieved so much, and she would have achieved so much more. The sky was the limit.
August 2nd, Phil Vetrano's beautiful daughter, described by friends and family as the life of the party, was found dead along this jogging trail near JFK Airport. She had been dragged in the tall weeds and strangled, left face down. Karina's dad usually ran with her, but was nursing an injury that terrible day.
Does that haunt you a little bit?
Of course it does.
Chief of Detectives Robert Boyce has been in charge of the investigation since day one.
Where are you in the investigation?
We have a DNA profile from the killer.
Chief Detective Boyce tells me the DNA comes from 3 places: Katrina's neck, under her fingernails, and on her cell phone. Then he reveals this: the DNA comes from 3 places, but from 1 person.
But it doesn't hit on any database?
No. We use a local database in New York to hook up patterns, robbery patterns, burglary patterns, because you would think someone with this background would have done time at some point or another.
A repeat offender?
Correct.
Boyce breaking news with a list of people who have been cleared in the murder.
The ex-boyfriend cleared?
Cleared.
DNA swab, alibi?
Yes.
Family members?
Cleared.
Father?
Cleared immediately. So now what do I have? Do I have an older perp who did his time before '98 and got out, hasn't really had any police contact before, or do I have a teenager?
Chief Detective Boyce showed me an aerial photo of the park and a graphic of the crime scene. He mapped out the murder for me step by step.
Show me where Karina was found.
She's found here. A lot of thick weeds, very thick, 6 to 8 feet tall. So we believe this puddle right here is important because her socks were wet when the body was found. The only way they could have gotten wet is through this puddle, we believe. So she was dragged off this path. Her property, her earbuds, they're thrown over here, which is just north of this path. The body is dragged into here. Her cell phone is thrown that direction, and her 1 sneaker is thrown over here. Pretty good run, pretty good throw, it's 132 feet.
What does this tell you?
It tells us that at some point she's dragged off the path. Karina puts up a battle.
Hell of a fight.
She does. She's beaten pretty severely. At some point, he drags her in there. There's no way anybody's going to find her in here.
And Boyce tells me what they found made even a hardened detective turn away.
Give me a sense for the injuries Karina suffered.
Facial injuries. She also had bruising on her body, we believe, from being dragged through those weeds. Rough area. So that's what we believe, where that bruising on the body came from.
And when you found her, she was still grasping to the weeds?
She had the weeds, stems of the weeds in her hands.
What does that tell you?
She fought not to go into those weeds.
Contrary to several reports, Chief Boyce now confirms to me there was no DNA evidence found at the scene to show that the would-be rapist completed his sexual assault. Karina's dad took me to that jogging trail in Howard Beach where police found his beautiful daughter.
I don't know if this person was waiting for her. I don't know if this person was following her. I don't know if this person knew her routine, drove to the other end, and met her head on.
Give me a sense for the timeline that day.
That's a day that I will never forget. I started to worry, which is unusual. I had a feeling. So I called her 3 times, didn't answer, and I went out looking for her.
The panic just immediately set in. It didn't seem to make sense to me.
There was no sign of her.
4 hours after Phil's phone calls, pings from Karina's cell phone led him and police to Karina.
You found your daughter.
I did. With the help of the PD.
As a parent, I have a hard time even getting my arms around that.
I think as a parent, you would rather you find your child than someone else. It's the last act of protection you can give your child.
Karina, a talented 30-year-old who earned a master's degree in speech pathology, also starred in this art house film based on a poem she wrote called The Paradox. Her family says everybody loved Karina, and she was such a social butterfly, she even texted while she was jogging. And Detective Boyce reveals Karina actually texted just before she was attacked.
The motive was sexual assault, and this was a random attack.
We are confident, but we're not closing out anything in this case, whether it be her private life or whatever. Thus far, nothing has revealed that.
This is a police sketch of a man in a wool cap they want to talk to, who was in the location around the time the raven-haired runner was killed.
And any luck with the sketch of the guy seen on the edge of this park?
We have about 25 calls on him, and we're vetting each one of them as he come in.
But you don't know whether he's a suspect or...
Right now, he's not even a person of interest. He's out there, he could be a witness.
Chief Detective Boyce also let me in on something else, telling me NYPD has scoured the area to collect every surveillance video they could get their hands on.
That's hours and hours of video.
It is. We put up a private room, and we assigned police officers and detectives just to watch that, to see if they saw any kind of activity at all.
Anything come out of that?
Nothing.
To date, with the hundreds of hours of video police have viewed, these are the only images of Karina they've seen so far.
Does the video give you any clues as to what happened to her? Does the video give you any clue as to who may have done this to her?
It does not, and that's one of the reasons that I got into where we are now with the case. So we went from all the way over here, all these homes here, and collected video of, could possibly help us, probative video, showing anybody entering and leaving the park. Quite a substantial undertaking.
You've got a $300,000 reward. You've got DNA. You've got some of the most experienced detectives in the nation working this case, yet you don't have much to go on at this point.
No, we went through the entire investigation, and now we're seeking the public's help.
Can you give me a criminal profile of this attacker?
I cannot, because all we have is the DNA. It doesn't reveal anything else other than that, other than it's a male.
This is going to be seen around the country. What message do you have for people?
We're looking for a break. We need a break in the case.